companies determine themselves if their products are safe or warrant analytical or toxicological tests. It's an absurd situation, but just like the citizens of Europe, Japan, Russia, China, and 60 other countries around the world that require GMO labeling, Americans deserve the right to opt out of this genetically engineered food science experiment. The biotech industry is very concerned that a measure banning GM crops will pass next May in Jackson County, much like a measure that's already passed in San Juan County, Washington. Also in the works is an ordinance in Benton County that will prevent GM crops from being planted and assert their right to be free from an unsustainable food system and unsustainable agricultural practices. Here in Lane County, work on a similar measure is quickly advancing. More on that in a minute. In response, Monsanto has been behind a bill being pushed in Salem that will strip Oregon's farmers and citizens of all local control of agricultural seed and seed products, replacing it with a one-size-fits-all policy dictated by the state. Well, as Melissa pointed out earlier, SB 633, Senate Bill 633, Oregon's very own Monsanto Protection Act, passed the Oregon Senate on May 1st. Oh. It's now in the House, in committee. Oh. We need folks to call their congresspeople, make sure that it dies in committee. The big corporate players know that if you want to influence politics in this country, you don't give money to presidential or congressional campaigns. You don't just give money to presidential or congressional campaigns. You focus on the state level. What happens in our state legislatures directly affect our taxes, schools, roads, the quality of our air and water, and even our right to vote. Through an organization called ALEC, who Melissa's also mentioned, the American Legislative Exchange Council, elected legislators work side by side with some of this country's most powerful corporations to write business-friendly legislation that gets introduced in state houses from coast to coast with no regard for public interest. About 1,500 bills are introduced each year, and more than 200 of these bills are signed into law. SB 633 is such a bill and is based on ALEC model legislation written in 2007. Yeah! Communities around the state and the country are beginning to organize in spite of these corporate attempts to undermine our rights. They're pushing back precisely at the point where individual citizens, activists, and community groups have the greatest potential to stop corporations from harming them right in their own communities. This effect has been successful because of an innovative strategy that gives communities legal authority to say no to unwanted corporate activities and sets up a framework that asserts the rights of nature and strips corporations of their constitutional rights.
Yes!
1 second, okay. Didn't mean to interrupt Glenn here, but what I need is, can we definitely make another partition for the emergency crews so that they can get back through? Just make